Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we uncover the hidden deals and dramatic twists in the world of corporate finance. Today, we're diving into a big announcement from S.W.K. Holdings Corporation that sounds like it climbs straight out of a finance textbook. And trust me, it has got some juicy implications. Alright, so what is the big news? S.W.K. Holdings Corporation, or SWKH as you might see it on the stock market, has inked a major deal. It is a merger agreement, which basically means they're planning to join forces with another company. Think of it like two companies deciding to become one big happy family, or in this case, one big acquiring organism. This is a really significant event for any company, and it totally changes their story going forward. The company has entered into a plan of merger with a few other entities, all related to Runway Growth Finance Corp. So it is S.W.K. Holdings Corporation, and a group led by Runway Growth Finance Corp. The deal outlines a series of mergers, which sounds complicated, but essentially S.W.K. Holdings Corporation will eventually become part of Runway Growth Finance Corp, or one of its subsidiaries. Now, let's talk about what the shareholders of S.W.K Holdings Corporation get out of this. This is usually the most interesting part for investors. They have a choice here. They can either receive a cash payout or shares of the acquiring company, Runway Growth. The amount of cash or stock they get is based on the net asset value of S.W.K Holdings at a specific time before the deal closes. Net asset value is basically the value of all the company S assets minus its liabilities. Think of it as the company S worth on paper. They also mentioned something called a per share guaranteed cash payment, which is expected to be around $0.74 per S share. The deal structure gets a bit intricate with how shareholders can elect to receive cash or stock. It is designed to balance how much cash and how much stock the acquiring company wants to pay out. If too many people choose cash, they might end up with stock instead, and vice versa. This is to make sure the deal stays within the agreed, upon financial limits for both cash and stock being exchanged. It is like a balancing act to ensure the deal works financially for everyone involved. They also mentioned that any outstanding company restricted stock awards will automatically vest and be converted into the right to receive this merger consideration. This is pretty standard in these types of deals. If you own stock options or restricted stock, they usually become immediately available to you when a merger is announced or completed. Like any big deal, this merger agreement comes with a whole bunch of promises called representations and warranties. These are basically statements of fact from both sides about their business. There are also covenants, which are promises to do or not do certain things before the deal is finalized. For example, both companies have to act in a normal way and not do anything drastic without the other's approval. The agreement also includes no shop provisions. This means S.W.K Holdings. Corporation can't go around actively looking for or encouraging other companies to make a better offer. They're pretty much locked into this deal unless something truly extraordinary happens. So, what needs to happen for this merger to actually go through? A few key things. First, the shareholders of S.W.K Holdings Corporation need to vote and approve the deal. Second, the stock of the acquiring company, Runway Growth, needs to be approved for listing on NASDAQ, which is a major stock exchange. Then there are regulatory approvals, specifically mentioning the Hart-Rodino Antitrust Improvements Act, which is a law designed to prevent monopolies. If any of these conditions aren't met, the deal could fall apart. Of course, deals can also be terminated. S.W.K Holdings Corporation has the right to walk away and accept a superior proposal from another company, but they have to follow specific rules for that, including giving the current buyer a chance to match it. And if they do walk away under certain circumstances, especially if they accept a better offer, S.W.K Holdings Corporation might have to pay a termination fee. In this case, that fee is a hefty $8,225,000. There is also a key stockholder agreement. This is important because one major shareholder, who holds nearly 70% of the voting power of S.W.K Holdings Corporation, S common stock, has agreed to vote their shares in favor of this merger. When a large shareholder like this commits to supporting a deal, it significantly increases the chances of it getting approved by all the other shareholders. Now, the filing includes a section on forward-looking statements. This is where the companies talk about what they hope will happen in the future, like future operating results, business prospects, and the overall impact of the merger. They use cautious language, using words like anticipate, believe, and expect. They also list a bunch of risks and uncertainties that could cause the actual results to be very different from what they're hoping for. Things like whether the merger will even happen on time or at all, potential cost savings not materializing, and the possibility of competing offers. It's important to remember that these are just projections and hopes, not guarantees. This section is basically telling investors where to find more official documents about this merger. They'll be filing a Form N-14 with the SEC, which will include a proxy statement and a prospectus. This basically means they re-giving shareholders all the details they need to vote on the deal, and explaining what they get. They re-encouraging everyone to read these documents carefully, because they contain crucial information. This part clarifies who might be involved in encouraging people to vote for or against the merger. It includes the directors and officers of both S.W.K Holdings, Corporation and the acquiring company, Runway Growth Finance Corp, and their advisors. Basically, it is letting you know who is in the room and who might be influencing the vote. Finally, we get to the exhibits. This is where they attach the actual legal documents. The big one here is the merger agreement itself, listed as Exhibit 2.1. They're also attaching the key stockholder agreement as Exhibit 99.1, which we talked about earlier. Think of these as the full, unedited contracts that lay out all the nitty-gritty details of this massive deal. So, what does all of this mean for S.W.K Holdings Corporation and its shareholders? On the surface, this is a significant step, potentially bringing a lot of value to the shareholders through the cash or stock consideration. The fact that a major shareholder is on board is a huge positive signal. However, the success of this merger hinges on meeting all those closing conditions. If those regulatory hurdles or shareholder approvals don't come through, the deal could unravel, and S.W.K Holdings might even owe a substantial termination fee. It is a high-stakes game, and the future of S.W.K Holdings is now intricately tied to the successful completion of this multi-stage merger with Runway Growth. We'll be watching closely to see if all the pieces fall into place. Alright, that is our breakdown of S.W.K Holdings Corporation S latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company S future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.